Why CHAZ in Seattle is a grave concern for all democratic cities. Today on the Knock Report.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Knock Report. I'm your host, JD Rucker, and I'm joined, as usual, by my lovely, talented, brilliant, and just utterly extraordinary wife, Tammy. Say hi, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
And she's also my co-host. Wife first, co-host second.
Yeah.
CHAZ. What the heck's CHAZ?
That's what I asked. I had no idea what the heck you were talking about. I was like, CHAZ?
CHAZ? CHAZ Bono?
No.
No? Okay. CHAZ is in Seattle. It is the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, a self-declared 6-block area around a police precinct. I think it's right by City Hall that is now essentially occupied and has declared technically its independence from the city of Seattle.
Yes, they even have blockades around.
They have blockades. It's a no-go zone for police. Police are not allowed in there.
They are having a good time.
They actually left. The law enforcement there abandoned their precinct. Now they say, they wanted to be very clear, we're not abandoning anything. We're attempting a new de-escalation technique after 8 days of protests and riots in the area. So we're going to de-escalate by just leaving the doors open to the precinct. We're going to take all sensitive data. They were shredding papers all day. It was like in those spy movies where it's like, we've been compromised, shred everything. So they were shredding like confidential informant information and all that stuff, and then they left. They said, we put fire retardant stuff on the building in case they try to burn it down, but so far they haven't. This is Antifa first and foremost, and Black Lives Matter I would say second, which is odd because it's based around Black Lives Matter. It's based around these George Floyd protests, yada, yada, yada. But if you see the videos, and I encourage you, look up the videos. They're probably hard to find because mainstream media is not touching this with a 10-foot pole. But if you see the videos on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or wherever, you'll notice that there's a whole lot of not black people here, protesting and occupying and creating this Capitol Hill autonomous zone.
I hadn't noticed. They're playing so it's sort of like a carnival that's going on there.
Oh, it is.
Without
it's
the
frolicking.
rides. They have like a co-op. What is it? Co-op? No.
Yeah, cop-free co-op.
There you go.
Businesses in the area. Oh, no. I think cop-free co-op was actually the name of this one particular business that was, or business, I don't think
loosely. It was a business because it was on cardboard.
They'd set up a table and they were giving out bottled water and burritos. Yeah. So, but hey, nothing wrong with that. Listen.
No, that's all cool. That's all cool.
Yeah,
I'm not
cool.
If somebody's doing that. I mean, but it's okay. So yeah, they have their food. They have their porta potties.
They have porta potties. They have a big screen projection TV. They're playing communal movies. Well, they were playing black movies, like for African American. Yeah. I think 13th was the movie. I'm not familiar with the movie, but yeah.
African American movies are just the theme of Black Lives Matter and all this other stuff. So that's understandable.
Bunch of white people.
That's what
promoting Black Lives Matter.
That's what I didn't get. It was reminiscent of Occupy Wall Street without all the tents. There were a few tents.
I think the tents will go up at later at night. I think that's the whole idea is that will.
It's like a big party.
It is. It's a party.
I bet it's so much fun.
I'm sure it's a blast.
Oh, I would have a blast. Man, if I were like 19,
homeless,
18, 19, 20, and
jobless, free food, free porta potty.
I wanted a reason to say that, I want to live in a carefree world where everybody gets along.
A police-free world, a rules-free world, logic-free world. Yeah, it's anarchy. Now, I've seen a lot. I've seen even politicians saying that, oh my gosh, this is a disaster. This is so bad. This is going to blow up. This is, crime is going to run rampant. We're going to go under one assumption, and this is to be fair to these protesters, but also because I think this may be the case. We cannot assume that the worst is going to happen. We have to assume that the best, at least from their perspective, the best is going to happen. That means that it's going to stay peaceful.
Right.
That means that there's not going to be any looting or rioting in this, communal area. That means that if there are any assaults, rapes, whatever, that they're going to go unreported because, that's what situations like these, it's like, no, I know you got hurt, but you got to keep it on the down low because it's all for the cause.
Right. Oh, that's what I was going to say is that if there are any crimes, eventually they're going to have to work out a system because we'll get to this whole newness of it. I mean, it's all fun and games right now and everything's great. But
it's literally like a festival.
After a while, this gets old. And you have to go back to reality. But the first time a real crime happens, like a major crime happens, then you've got some issues. Then you're going to see their Black Lives Matter disciples leave. They're going to abandon the situation because they're going to say the reality is we're actually not safe. And they won't say that, but they're going to probably eventually just sort of fade out.
Maybe.
That's my opinion.
But let's go based upon the assumption that none of that's going to happen.
Okay.
So let's pretend like this is going to be the best case scenario in their mind. Okay, let's say that none of the crime happens. Let's say that they remain peaceful. Let's forget about what
they have more incentive to be peaceful.
They do,
right?
Right. So they want this to succeed. They want to be able to prove to the rest of America, the rest of Seattle, the rest of Washington, the rest of the world that if, we can get a big screen and some porta potties and we can work together, we can sing Kumbaya and nobody's going to get hurt and everybody's lives are going to matter and we don't need police.
No cops.
We don't need cops. That's what they're going to say. But here's the thing. It's funny. Andy No, he is Mr. Anti-Antifa. This guy is independent journalist, has been going after Antifa, and they've been going after him.
He's done a lot of homework on them. He's been following them for a long time now. So.
Yeah, and he noticed, he knows where to look for these things. He found Antifa accounts on Twitter that were calling for, we need some more armed support here, calling for people to go down to CHAZ.
Just as a precautionary, or were they having issues?
They didn't specify, but.
And then what are they going to do? I mean, what if they have people that they elect within their little communal thing and they actually have to shoot somebody?
I don't know the plan. We're
back to reality.
If somebody wants to sponsor us, I'll take a road trip up to Seattle and check it out. Bring my hidden camera and a colorful shirt and I'll try to blend in. Because I could blend in. Okay, so let's talk about we've identified 4 things that we believe are assuming that this works, assuming that it doesn't blow up, then 4 things that we believe we need to worry about. And before we get started, keep in mind, we're specifying democratic cities. That's not to say that conservative cities, Republican cities, cities that are not insane like Seattle or San Francisco or wherever.
But for real, can you imagine this happening in Texas? Even Houston?
Austin? It could definitely happen in Austin. Austin is like...
I think that's already like that.
Yeah, Austin... I think they are actually living... Austin is one big communal system.
It's one big... It
could be, but...
culinary
The point
festival.
is that we're focusing on the immediate threat, which is other democratic cities, where this type of scenario can start to form. Now, there's a big problem that we'll go ahead and throw out there with that before we get into what the 4 problems are. All right. Seattle allowed this. The mayor, there was a city council member who actually even literally brought the keys to City Hall and opened the doors for them. The police allegedly left their precinct open to be taken over. Okay? All of these things, this has been allowed.
That's a little odd.
We'll see. I
can see abandoning it, but I can't see opening up your precinct.
Well, but I mean, it's better to open it up than, they're going to get in. If you leave a building open.
Was that suggested or is that something?
We don't know this situation. Okay. We just know that they came up with this plan, whatever this plan was, people say, they were overpowered. They didn't get overpowered. The National Guard was there. The police were there. They could have sustained the blockade. They could have held the zone, so to speak, indefinitely. Okay.
No, let them be.
But they decided, let's try to de-escalate by giving them what they want. I don't know. Point I'm trying to make is that if this does go to other cities, and if those cities are not as compliant with the demands of Antifa, Black Lives Matter, whoever is behind all this, then it could actually, maybe they want their own community, they want their own Capitol Hill autonomous zone in San Francisco, Austin, wherever, and the government or law enforcement or both are not willing to do what Seattle did, then we could start getting into conflicts. But again, we're focusing on democratic cities because those are the places where this is more likely to happen. The left-leaning, left progressive cities, this is where this can occur, at least immediately. So
let's get to our first thing.
Let's get to our first thing.
So encouraging anarchy to spread based upon success.
Exactly what I'm talking about here.
Right.
This is anarchy.
So
okay.
Clarifying that if they succeed, this will justify their anarchy.
Right.
Essentially what comes down to anarchy, okay? Yeah. It doesn't seem to be anarchy on the surface, right? It just seems like people are just trying to express their rights and they say, okay, we really don't want to do this, and for our city or our town, we can choose to push out the cops. But when you do that, you're
government, don't forget, this is an autonomous zone. They're pushing government out.
That's what I was going to get to, because eventually what happens, it doesn't end with cops. It's actually the entire structure, the government structure. So it's completely ran by civilians.
They
it's
rule
sort of
themselves.
Communal. It's like a kibbutz.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know
that's
what
exactly
I mean?
what it is.
But much less organized with no
We're going back
faith.
to, this is the equivalent of late 19th century, early 20th century major cities where, they were establishing these little areas where the local, whatevers were running things. Gangs in many cases. You ever seen gangs in New York? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what they want. And it's funny because I saw a viral image. This is what we want for CHAZ. And it was, it looked like it could have been taken straight out of gangs in New York.
Right. Well, this isn't going to, honestly, I think this is going to fall on its face, but we'll continue.
Let's assume that it won't. Again, let's assume that there's success. Because if we, listen, trust me when I say this, if we have any thought, any notion that they might be successful, we have to assume that they will be. Because if we start, saying, oh, it's probably going to fail, it's probably going to collapse, it's going to do this, do that, then when it doesn't, or if it doesn't, then
their state taxes are put into the very people that are sworn to protect them. So, okay.
But what if they're not paying taxes? What if they don't have jobs? What if they don't need money? What if everything's free?
What the heck is going on with these people?
What if, let's say,
I don't understand.
Let's take it a step towards conspiracy, just real quick, briefly. You know me, I hate conspiracy theories. But let's say, for example, this experiment in communal living within a major metropolitan in the United States is heavily funded. Right. Maybe by a George Soros type or whatever. I'm saying enough food to, let's say they've got 15,000 people. I don't know how many there are, but let's say there's 15,000 people feeding and giving them tents, okay, and putting 3 or 4 people in there with guns and putting 5 or 6 people in there with literature and pamphlets and giving them movies and giving them stuff to do. You could fund that indefinitely. Somebody like, some billionaire or billionaire organization could keep that going indefinitely without even blinking an eye. We're talking about, low end living. It's not like, they have to.
Communal living.
It's communal living. So it's not like they have to, replace the burritos. They got burritos. Okay. They might have Taco Tuesday, but otherwise it's burritos or sandwiches or burritos.
Everybody brings what they
bars.
can. Everybody brings what they can.
They're going to get support from their community, support from outside.
Right. And then
Long story short is that it's not a guarantee that this is just going to fall apart and collapse and everybody's going to get bored and go home. This can be, we have to assume that it's possible that this can go on because we have to extrapolate what goes from here. Okay. So, if this is successful, then this encourages that spread to other cities, but perhaps more importantly, and this is what I was referring to in this particular item. More importantly,
No.
Can't do what?
You can't do it in LA. There's no room.
Well, that's the thing is that they're going to run out. The biggest problem is that they're either going to have to turn people away or they're going to have to expand.
Is that what you were getting to?
That's what I was getting to. They're going to have to expand. Because people from out of state are going to come to this, especially if it doesn't spread. people from, homeless people will look at this and then, again, free food, free tents. Oh, why not? Free bathrooms? The point I'm trying to make is that they can take this. This can get way out of hand.
Do you think? Give me a percentage right now, as of now, as it says. What do you think the percentages of this getting much bigger?
20%.
Okay.
I don't think this is going to happen. But again, I don't.
But in the meantime, leading up to the point where
let's pretend like it's 100%.
Right.
Let's pretend like this is definitely going to happen, because when we start looking at could it happen, one of the biggest concerns that I have with conservatives is that we are often too logical. Okay. The reason...
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking there's no way.
Yeah, we're too logical. And that has worked for us throughout history. That has worked for us in the very recent past. But this is a different situation between the coronavirus, between the riots. Again, we're talking...
Did the coronavirus just make people insane?
Well,
we don't happened?
Know. It's the fluoride, okay? It's the water making the frogs gay. Didn't you hear about that?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what happened.
I don't understand what happened.
Well, something's happened, but the point I'm trying to make is let's stop pretending like, that's probably not going to happen.
Okay.
And then it does. If you would have told me, if somebody sees the George Floyd video, okay, you take that, show it to a conservative, and you ask them, is this going to
result in disbanding police?
Yeah.
Right.
Is this, or let's say a month ago, if you would have walked up to somebody, a conservative, and said, you know what do you think the chances are of a major metropolitan city council voting with a veto-proof vote to completely disband their entire police department? What are the chances of that, logically speaking?
Well, I would have thought that person was probably the person that would... No, it couldn't happen.
0% chance.
Right.
And it happened. Yeah. So we've got to stop thinking, it's probably not going to do this. It's probably not going to do that. I want this entire episode. Forget about what, it's going to,
Okay, I get you.
Okay.
And that's understandable. And I think you have a point. I keep messing with my hair. Sorry.
It's okay. I like it when you mess with your hair.
Okay. We have to, you keep making the point. And you're definitely onto something, because I think most of us haven't imagined any of the things that have taken place within the last 3 months, okay? So you have to admit that. And if you admit that, then you have to kind of keep your mind open that at this point...
Pretend like it's all definitely going to happen.
It's like a spirit of craziness going on, and it's not like we can... For the first time, guys, we don't know what tomorrow holds for Americans. You've heard it said a million times, our democracy and this and that and the other. And we really deep down, I don't think we really truly felt that could be challenged, that could actually be taken away. But we're actually seeing that not only challenged, but pretty much in the grips of those at this point that are wanting to take that away. It's the first time I anyway. So let's move on to the next one before we run out of time. But that's
2 days ago.
Oh yeah.
2 days ago. It's okay. 2 days ago we had a 2-part podcast talking about the essentially the 5 steps. Okay, the 5 phases of the radical left's plan. Okay, this falls into perfectly with step 3, which we talked about. I believe it was on Sunday. Could have been Monday. Either way, we talked about it, and I strongly encourage, we'll put it in the show notes, the links to those 2 shows, because I think that we have to start treating this as it's going to be. But before we get into this, I want to do, before we get into number 2, I want to do a quick shout out. This is something, not shout out, that's the wrong word for it. I'm already messing all this up. I've been watching a lot of other podcasts, a lot of other live stream videos, and I see people do this all the time, and I'm about to butcher it, and I forgot to get her to do it ahead of time. So now,
oh no,
yeah, I should have just had her do it. But we could use your support. I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking for get the word out. Okay,
Shoot,
yeah, send money. So
please.
If you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube,
Help
Periscope,
us.
If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, however you're hearing us, seeing us right now, we strongly encourage and we're asking you to help us by sharing this information. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Both are at our /Knock Report, NOQ Report. You can find us on Apple Podcasts. You can always go and find all of our shows at NOQreport.com. That's where we put a lot of news commentary and all that good stuff. Again, we're trying to I've been told that we need to get into the habit of asking for these types of things, or else,
Yeah, we're so used to, you guys don't, maybe you don't know, maybe you do. It takes a lot of time, a lot of prep to do this. We have 4 children, and that is something that is hard to do sometimes when you trip, but it's a passion, and it's something that we love to do, especially JD. He's worked so tirelessly to try to bring you guys, information, because it truly is close to his heart to inform people and to keep people aware of what's really happening in this country and what we need to do and so forth. So it is an actual job. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time, and, with working with very little equipment. So, I guess we should remember to tell people to help support us however you can. Like you said, go to Apple Podcasts, and so forth. And so
5-star reviews.
5-star reviews. It helps us in the
likes, shares, comments, retweets.
Yeah, it helps us get out there. It helps our podcast get in front of faces, and that's something that's really important.
Especially when we know that media is controlled by the left. Okay.
Yes.
You could say that, there's Fox News or that whatever. Okay, so look, media is controlled by the left. There needs to be more conservative voices, and these conservative voices need to be able to get out to more people. Mm-hmm. So we're asking you to help. If you're a conservative, you're watching this, spread the word. If you're not a conservative, you're probably not watching this.
And if you are, welcome.
Yeah, welcome. Hey, look, Big Ten.
Sit back.
Big Ten.
Learn something.
Big Ten. Just like Seattle, they have a lot of little tents. So I'm bad with this promo stuff. Move on to the second one, please.
So breaking police morale. And this is big
already
one.
Happening.
Yes, and we've seen this. I don't know if you guys have listened to some of the chiefs coming out talking. They are beside themselves. This one guy, this one really bad guy that I think every single cop, most cops in this country agree did something most disturbing and disgusting.
I've not met a single cop who has said that he did nothing wrong.
Well, of course.
Derek Chauvin is. They never said that they're all against him. Literally every single one that I've heard
This guy can't single-handedly take down the entire police force across this nation, but that's what is happening right now. And these cops every single day, they go out and try to protect us, right? And now everybody's telling them that they're the bad guy, that we hate you and that we don't want you anymore, and that I want you to not have your job. I don't want you to get paid anymore, and we want you to just completely go away. And we don't care what you've done for us, and we don't care what you want to do for us. It's really sad.
It is. Morale is down. Did you see the video of the NYPD union, the police officers union yesterday? They were speaking. A couple of speakers from NYPD were talking about, look, we're here for you guys. We're here for the community. It's really pissing us off that you guys, legislators are coming after us, press are coming after us.
Everybody's coming after us.
And it's sickening. You've got people quitting left and right.
I did hear that. Yeah, you have people, so many cops resigning. And in addition to all that he said, he was like, nobody's asked us. We are not even involved in the decisions.
Yeah.
We haven't even been a part of this. We're just being left out.
Yeah. You want solutions? You're asking criminals for solutions.
You're asking criminals for solutions. You're telling us to let go the people that looted all these businesses. You want them to let them go, but then
you're going to charge cops.
Then you're going to charge cops.
It's ridiculous.
We're not talking about the ones that are guilty, guys. We're talking about just normal cops that are trying to do their job. And all of a sudden, I have a New York accent. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. It's okay.
Come on.
It's okay.
What are you doing? Okay. So the next one.
We're all New York. Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about this already in this podcast. The romantic but short-lived appeal of communal life. It's so romantic. It's so much fun. Everybody's in this because everybody's agreeing with you, right? But when it comes to the point where you might have some opposition, you have real life, you have actual people have to get back to work, or I guess in that situation, they probably just want to have no job. They want to be able to live free.
Free burritos. On
the streets paved by, okay. We've talked about this. I think we've drilled that one in.
Well, I wanted to know. I was hoping you would use your example. It's
annoying.
What was your analogy? When I brought this part up, you said it was. I even put in romantic.
Yeah, it's like a first time girlfriend or a new boyfriend or a new girlfriend, right? It's really fun and it's so exciting, and you're walking on cloud 9, and it's like you guys are the only ones in the world, right? There's only you, and you have a much higher cause at this point.
Look at this freedom! I don't even have to wear deodorant.
So I feel so careless. I feel so
carefree.
That's what I'm careless.
And careless.
I'm sorry, that was a
These
slip.
burritos are awesome. You just put enough sauce on them. They're great.
Guys, we're all in love. We're all singing Kumbaya.
You know, the second or third time we watch the same movie. I don't know.
Yes.
Point is that
then
even if it's all
reality
successful,
hits.
even if everything's successful with this, there's still
you get your first argument.
Yeah.
You get in your first, scuffle.
Right.
And then you're questioning everything, and then you leave.
Yeah.
Because then you have to go back to reality.
But some of them just won't, and that's where this short-lived appeal for communal life. Again, if this spreads, for every one person that leaves, if 5 people show up, then it's going to get bigger. They're going to need more Capitol Hill autonomous zone territory.
God forbid if they start getting coronavirus.
I don't think that'll happen. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even.
That
never even crossed my mind.
Do you have a hospital in your communal? Are you going to have to go outside of your communal and get real help? It drives me crazy, and I think right now they have a cause and they're doing what they're doing. That's great, but please, Lord, help these people. Help our country. We need all the help we can get right now because people are losing their damn minds. They really are.
They really are.
Okay.
Now I'm all down.
Oh, don't be.
Let's get to the last part. Things are
peaceful now.
But what happens if they shift? And again,
Right.
I said that we were going to assume that everything works out. One thing is definitely clear. One way or the other, it's not always going to work out as far as the peacefulness.
Right.
Because if, let's say, it does work out, and it does work out indefinitely, and they're able to maintain this communal society, they're able to maintain this cop-free zone, they're able to keep things under control, and they're not starving, and the elements aren't too bad, it's not too hot during the day in the summer, and the government doesn't step in, and police doesn't come back, and we're looking, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months down the line. At some point, when you have, I don't care how much these people love each other, when you have this many people in this small of a space sharing these many things and not wearing deodorant, it's eventually not going to be peaceful. I assure you. I mean, this isn't a matter of again, I'm saying we're still going with the assumption of best case scenario, but even in the best case scenario, eventually this won't be peaceful. Yeah. And that's where, this is where we have to be very concerned, because if this does spread to other democratic cities,
right,
and if this does spread to, within Seattle, that not peacefulness could end up coming from outside. Okay? It could end up being...
What do you mean?
In other words, I'm, business owner. I don't want to... So,
okay.
I don't want to mean anything because it scares me. I just want to leave it at that things are peaceful for now.
Okay.
But they could be bad.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts?
Well, I did say yesterday that we were going to talk about Nancy Pelosi's thing, but it hasn't really done anything. We're going to wait a few days to see exactly what happens, okay? Because Democrats and Republicans have their own thing going.
Senate has one thing.
Yeah, and we want to talk about that because it's going to be important. But I think that's it. I think that's... Now we got to go cheer up.
We got to go cheer up. But as you're going out there, unless you're in the...
in the communal?
Capitol
CHAZ.
Hill... autonomous zone.
CHAZ.
Just be sure to stay safe.
Stay strong.
God bless.
God bless. We switched it.
Did we really?
I think so.
We did. Oh, wow. We messed it all up. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.